Xiang here, and thank you so much for letting us be a part of your journey. We have for you a roundtable here that really gets to something that's been on my heart recently. It's a juxtaposition of this one thing: commitment without attachment. Commitment without attachment. And today we're going to be bringing in three incredible outliers who have committed to success here, and I'm excited to see how they've continued to do that in a way that's aligned with them and continues to go forth and create greatness out in the world. So, without further ado, let's get to know our outliers here today on this roundtable. Karen, we'll start with you. Would you mind letting us know more about you and the game you're currently playing?
Karen Briscoe. The game I'm currently playing is helping people achieve a higher level of results personally and business. And along the same lines, helping people achieve the results in real estate, because my main gig is a mega real estate agent.
Can I ask you, what does it mean to be a mega real estate agent?
Sell a lot of houses at a high level.
Yeah. All right. I see you, outlier. I love that. Thank you for coming in. Thank you for playing this game here, Karen. I'm excited to see where we play from here. Robin, let's get a chance to get to know you. You mind sharing more about you and the game you're playing?
All good. Yeah. So I was born and raised in Copenhagen, Denmark, but I've always been a seeker, a dreamer. So when I was 21, I bought a one-way ticket from Copenhagen to California because I wanted to be with all the nerds of the world. I ended up spending over 20 years of my life in California. Not everything I did turn to gold. Unfortunately, a lot of failures, but also had some good wins along the way. It was early days at Salesforce, Box, LinkedIn, helped take Matterport public. I was also the CMO at WeWork when that went down in flames. So hit or misses, you're kind of like when you put yourself out there. And then I've spent a lot of time as a kind of an angel investor and advisor to lots of companies. And I've mostly been on the marketing side in my career. And it's so interesting when I spent time as an advisor to companies, I always think, they want to talk about branding and go-to-market and category creation, all this kind of stuff. They really want to know the magic of how do you create high-performance teams. So I've kind of become obsessed, I would say, in the last last decade of what is the alchemy that goes into creating really great performing organizations. And I personally had this defining moment for myself, maybe about 10, 15 years ago, probably closer to 15 years ago, where I had a boss who said to me, hey, you need to be more of an asshole if you want to get ahead. And I just thought to myself, that's not the kind of person I want to be at. That's not the kind of world I want to live in. So it's kind of become my personal mission, to answer your question in a very long-winded way, is how can we create high-performance teams, but where there's also joy and laughter and fun as part of doing the best work of your life. That's my mission in life right now.
Oh, it's like you're muted there, brother.
I got caught in the mute trap. It happens sometimes. But Robin, when I hear this, I really appreciate how like what I get is you don't settle, right? And while most people might say it has to be one way, you've chosen to say but I've lived something different. So don't tell me, don't tell me how it has to be. I'm excited to see with that. I love the premise of how do you create high performance teams. Bronson, would love to get to know you more. Would you mind sharing more about you and the game you're playing?
Yeah, thanks for having me. So I was a well-paid medical sales professional. I was making over $200,000 a year. And I worked with physicians who would make millions of dollars a year. This was in the US, going into surgery. And I realized I had this quote from Warren Buffett stuck with me, which was, unless you learn how to make money while you sleep, you'll work until you die. And it's kind of this oh man, I've got to figure out this passive income thing where it doesn't require me to actually do the work. So I kind of went down this big path on real estate and all kinds of different investments. And so I was able to, kind of extract myself from my corporate job and kind of on my own now for about 4 years. And I just love being able to help people detach the time for money trade. Like even people that make a lot of money in a business or as a professional or a doctor, a lot of them are doing a time for money trade. And about 70% of people in the US would say they don't like their job. They're not engaged at work. And so I think there's this real tragic thing where we get stuck doing something we have to do and not do something that we feel alive when we're doing it. So I'm all about helping people come alive. Once they develop enough passive income, they can really do what they're here to do, what they're put on this earth to do.
This is it. The Outliers. We have ourselves a roundtable here, and so like while we're having this conversation, the reason we do this live is so that you can also be a part of the conversation. So we'll be asking questions out in the chat, but ask your questions out here too. And if you do, we'll feature here, and we'll see what this roundtable has to contribute towards it. All right. So let's all go ahead and play. All right. Cool. So I want to get a sense from you all here. Like I'd like to bring in some of the challenges that I've heard Outliers bring out in the past, as well as and get your take on it, right? And so I started out this whole thing about like commitment without attachment. Like this, the outlier in question right now is me, because this is what's played out with me, right? But commitment without attachment, and I like y'all have done incredible things, and you keep doing incredible things. And I'm wondering what's something that you've taken on recently, or that you like a project you've taken on, or that you're taking on, where like that element of committing without being attached to the end result really is playing out for you. And then once you tell me what that project is, tell me about like how you're actually doing it, because it sounds nice, but like the actual experience of working without attachment, I think it's something different. I'm not going to call anyone in particular, so you can just kind of like open your mic, we'll just have it like flow. And then if you don't mind saying your first name when you respond, that way if anyone's listening to this only, they know who's talking. Yeah. Anyone want to take us off from there? Commitment without attachment. What's coming up for you on that?
Yeah, I mean, I can go first. This is Robin. I actually think it's one of those things that everyone ends up learning at some point in their life, that you can't control outcomes. You can control the way you show up, the work that you do every day, the effort you put into something, the energy you put into something, the passion you put into something, but you can't control outcomes. I have this success formula that I use that I go around and I give keynotes around. It's like this, and I call it input plus output equals outcome. And what I mean is the input is how do you show up, the energy, the excitement, conviction. You control that 100%. Doesn't mean it's easy. If you're having a shit morning, somebody cuts you off in traffic, blah, blah, blah. Lots of things going on. Doesn't change the fact that you control the way you show up every day. Even output, I would argue that you can control. Is this good? Are you proud of it? Is it best in class? Blah, blah, compared to what's out in the market. But you can't control outcome. I think it's a lesson that most high performers learn at some point, is that show up every day, do the best work that you can. It also gives you this sense of satisfaction in controlling what you can control. The rest is kind of out of your control. But of course, it's not an abdication of responsibility to not have outcomes or goals. It just means that if you want to try to influence that, the way you show up matters more than anything. So for example, if you're trying to get to 10 million in revenue in the year, and you show up with a bad attitude, shitty teamwork, you're never going to hit it. If you show up, do the work, lean in, work well, collaborate, the likelihood of you hitting that outcome is much, much higher. So for me right now, I'm working on trying to establish a new category around what I call human success, which is about how do we create the conditions for humans to be the best that they can be every single day. And that's what my focus is. And there, I think I can control the way I show up, the way I communicate, the way I lead my team and so on, but I can't control the outcome of how it ultimately ends up being.
Well, that's good. I'll just jump in too. Yeah, I think that's really good. Detaching the result from what the goal is. I'm a big results goal oriented person, and I get really frustrated when things don't go how I want them to go. And I like many achievers, I'm sure, but I live in LA. I live in Pasadena, which is right near the big fires in LA that happened about a little over a year ago. So we evacuated our house for a few days, came back to a smoky house, was fine, thank God. But had 7 friends that lost homes, either in the Palisades or it's called the Eden Canyon fire, which is near Altadena. And so I started saying that moment, with my background in real estate, raising capital, and doing things, what can I do to help? And so I said, I'm going to, try to find some solutions here. So I've discovered this thing called prefabricated or manufactured homes. It's not what we were doing 50 years ago with, mobile homes. It's like, we're talking 9-foot ceilings and custom countertops and just beautiful homes they can build, and they build them off site in 7 days and install them in 1 day on site. So I'm kind of just now right after like a year and 3 months, like really working hard at this, like getting ready to do our first property, be able to do it, help other people to do it. But I think sometimes too, and I've been described this way, sometimes you have to be willing to do what other people are not willing to do. And if it's important enough and you actually commit to do it, then it doesn't matter how long it takes, right? It doesn't matter if it takes you a month or it takes you 10 years. If you're committed to do it and it's meaningful enough, if you have meaning behind it, I have so much meaning behind why this cause really matters to me that I know it's inevitable that it's going to happen, right? So I just have to keep moving forward. Now, some things may get in the way or whatever, but if I just really commit to it, it will happen. So I think for me, that's the one thing as I continually reframe of like, is this a worthwhile task in doing? Am I getting closer to my results? If not, I can make changes. And I failed a lot of things I do. but I don't look at it like I'm a failure. It's just information. It's something that I can use to refocus, change my target. Okay, here's where I'm going now, and just keep moving forward.
We're grateful to both of your commitments. My first book, Real Estate Success in 5 Minutes a Day, the first pinnacle in that is commit to get leads. And the reason why I came up with that one first was like, well, until you have a lead, until you have nothing to do if you're in some form of sales. Actually, you're nothing to do even like if you're in, say churches, they call that outreach, and dentists call it, patient acquisition, so everybody's in the business, and it's, in my business, it's leads for people to buy and sell houses, do real estate transactions, but it also can be lead generate for opportunities, lead generate for people, right? People talent. There's all sorts of ways that we lead generate. And what I found is that when you commit to doing it without connecting the outcome, then you could release it to the universe. Because what I have found is that people who are really tied to the outcome, that person, my neighbor didn't use me, the person they used, another agent, or they called someone else, and people get all caught up in that rather than in the idea that if you put out into the universe that you're ready, willing, and able to assist people or to be open for opportunities, be open for ideas. There's a book Elizabeth Gilbert wrote called Big Magic, and it's about the idea that in the universe there's energy, and in that energy it's looking for people that are open to receive that energy. And if you say no in any way and you cut off that flow, and I say it's not necessarily matchy like I call this person or reach out to this person. It's not necessarily that person that does something with, but someone else that I never even thought about reaches out to me. So I find that this commitment without expectation or outcome driven opens up the universe to bring opportunity to me and other people that I have that achieve at a high level of success. I found.
I love that you're using the word energy. It's just like such a key thing. I think energy attracts energy, and there's so many people who don't understand that fundamental kind of law of the universe in some ways, that if you show up with the right energy, there's usually like a likewise thing that happens, a connection. And if you show up the wrong energy, for example, I had somebody reach out to me, kind of hounding me a little bit on LinkedIn because I have a strong network and they wanted to use some of my connections to find a job. And I'm like, okay, I'm always trying to be helpful. Fair enough. But the ways that this person showed up with energy was like so depressing. And I'm just like, you have one shot. Come on, just go for it. I always think of it this way because I advise also try to coach the younger people, because I'm at this stage in my life. I'm a little older, so I'm trying to pay it forward as much as I can. And I said, the thing that you have in your control, really, when you're just starting out, you have nothing else, is your energy and the initiative that you find, the initiative that you take to do something different. But the way you show up, that's what people are going to remember you. So I love that you use that word. To me, I think that's the key difference maker in how your outcome in your life is going to be.
So I'm playing with this here. I'm going to go off the energy element here, and I'm curious here for you all here, when the energy isn't there. So what's coming to me right now is I used to live in New York City, and I'm a massive extrovert. So I would walk outside, people and energy would just flow. And people are like, how do you have so much energy? I'm like, I don't know, it's overflowing. Now where I live, I can walk for hours and see 12 people total. And I'm like, I have to go cultivate this here. So I'm really curious about on this element of energy and energy, attracting energy and putting it out in the world, and the world is looking to bring in energy. How do y'all actually cultivate that? What do you do when you feel like your energy is off? I think that'd be something that Outliers here and myself could really benefit from. What are your takes? What are your go-tos along the way?
It's a good question. I mean, to me, I had a situation. I've got a teenage daughter, so we had a morning. She woke up late, and it was, it's not her fault. She just, the attitude was a little bit there, and I was like, man, I came back, and I was like, I don't know if I handled that the best way as well, because I was early, and just one of those moments. And I think it just getting refocused, getting my energy right. And I was like, man, I just feel like I need to kind of detox. And so for me, I music's a great way for me too. I think with my spirituality, do some worship music or get some things just to be gratitude. I think gratitude's a big part of it as well. So to me, I look at God as being like, hey, I can be grateful for, man, I'm alive and I have breath and I'm walking and I'm breathing and I have it, and it just starts to change everything. Because I think there's a human nature element that's like when I slip into negativity, which is a huge energy killer, right? Any negativity or anger or whatever, just getting back to that, like, man, what do I have? And human nature is we don't know what we have until it's either gone or it's threatened, right? So I have to intentionally say, man, I've got arms, I'm healthy, I can go for a run, I've got people that love me, I've got a dog, I've got a job, I've got something I do for work. Like, this is all amazing. And then I start to think about it, it just gives me all this energy of like, wow, like all this stuff exists in my life that doesn't necessarily have to be there. Like I it's all a gift. And so that is something for me that really changes energy for me.
Yeah, beautiful. Yeah, for me, it's a lot of what you just said. I totally agree. It also is about intention, being aware of it. I think is where kind of it starts. A lot of this doesn't matter if I have a one-on-one with someone or a team meeting or maybe a keynote somewhere. Like I always think about, they're going to remember more or less the energy. And if I can transfer that energy and enthusiasm, I think that's mostly what I'm trying to do most of the time in my kind of job. Because then they become believers. They get maybe encouraged to take action and do something different in their life. But a lot of it starts with intention. But to the question also of like what Bronson just answered, which I think is great, is how do you get into that state? Music, nature, exercise, the foods that you eat. There's so much that go into the books that you read, the people you surround yourself with. All those kind of things go into the way that you manage and give energy back.
I realized when you say that, Robin, that I might have missed like part of where the question was, which is like, how did y'all find what works for you? I think that's it. Like, rather than be like, because like it's like everything works, Like I accidentally put my my desk up in a call before here, and someone's like, "What are you listening to?" I was like, "Oh, I didn't even know I was moving. Like, there's nothing playing in these ears, but like now that I'm standing, I'm moving. Like the energy is flowing. So like I think I think it'd be really interesting to see like what was your process to find it, or how do you even identify like, oh, this is going on. We'll take that. We'll take one or two more on this, and then we'll move on.
One of the most significant milestones or pivots in my life was when I met Hal Elrod of Miracle Morning fame. And he says, every situation, circumstance is an opportunity to learn, grow, and become better than before. And so I do a lot of coaching and mindset and mind management to focus on that, because things happen for a reason, and I get to choose the reason. But what the habits I set up for was with Hal, the Miracle Morning is to start your day. When you start your day, then you could, the rest of the day usually follows. And so he taught me the SAVERS, which is a great acronym to remember. And I start my day with that and have for almost a decade now. So it's silence, affirmations, visualization, exercise, and reading. Not necessarily in that order, and not necessarily every day, although I do find that it sets the tone. But I find coaching, because it's like coaching for exercise or coaching for business success. My mind is my best asset. Like, it's my greatest opportunity. And so to train it or to coach it to through these times, because every time I've had something that appeared to be negative, I'm sure you've heard that story about the horse and everything, but that appeared to be negative, the reason it happened, I found out later, ended up being something where I learned, I grew, or became better than before.
I mean, to get really specific, for me, I discovered fasting about 15 years ago, and it was such a game changer for me. My superpower is my energy, and I just started noticing, like, depending on what I eat and when I eat it, my energy would dip up and down, and I'm just like, I'm not showing up being the best version of myself, and being really mindful of what I eat. And I wasn't doing it specifically for like weight loss or trying to be on a diet. It was just like, it was mostly because I care about the energy, because everyone keys off of that, at least in the kind of work I do. So it was a game changer. I can highly recommend, if you're a leader, this is a way to regulate your energy in a really, really positive way. It has for me, certainly.
Yeah, I'm grateful for each of you on this one here. Like I want to like I'm seeing the things that are playing out as we're talking, and I see the ways that y'all are constructing your life. Like there's something I'm going to ask you all here. Each of you are on the cutting edge and leaders in your fields, and I want to ask you. I'm calling it like let's call it like the 3% club. What I found is that like a lot of outliers, like they're in the room, but like like 3 out of 100 people are like them, or in the way that they're thinking and so forth. And I'm curious about like what's something for each of you in your own respective areas that you think that like you think you believe you know to be true that only 3% of other people in the room would agree with you on. All right, what is that thing that you hold in? I'll call it like your outlier insight or the outlier truth that you know. But I get really curious about this because it's like usually there's something that we know and we do that like has that most other people would be like that can't possibly work or that can't possibly be true, and yet you're like here I am. So for each of you, what would be your outlier insight? What would be your 3%?
So I think for me, I was with Karen, kind of what she was sharing about how Elrod and Miracle Morning. I have my own morning routine, which I think is huge. But I had the privilege to interview over 2,500 millionaires, and one thing that really stuck out to me was that all of these people typically they all have some sort of mindset practice around visualization, around seeing themselves. There's a book called Think and Grow Rich, and he says in that book, he says spend 30 minutes a day thinking about the person that you intend to become. Now that's a long time. This is written in like the 1940s, so it's an old book, but it's so many people have claimed that book is to be huge because the thing is, if I can visualize it, if I can speak it, then I can create it in my own life. And I've watched myself like 25x my net worth from, 6 figures to multiple 7 figures. And it really came from doing the work first. And this is really why I think people that win the lottery, only 11% of people that win the lottery say their life is better off 3 to 5 years later. There's like a study that goes around and talks about this, is that they didn't create the character. They didn't do the work of actually seeing themselves as that person. They just somebody gave them a lot of money. And so it works around wealth, but it works around relationships. It works around health. It works around everything. It comes from visualization and also speaking and believing those things in your life.
So I'm going to tangent on that or extend on that. So what I found in coaching many people through the years and working with many people is that success is available to everyone, but not everyone will achieve success. And oftentimes, almost always, the person is stopping themselves. And I do it too. I mean, I've got a prosecuting attorney on my shoulder, and she's really good at telling me all the things. And helping people with that is where the power, because it was like a light bulb moment for me when I was in a coaching program right before I just committed to writing my first book. Up until that, I was like a lot of people, oh yeah, I'm going to write well, you've written a book, Bronson. So, a lot of people say they're going to write a book. It really, the percentage is probably 3%, right? Even as easy as it is now with Amazon and Kindle. But at this coaching program, we were supposed to share on the last day what was stopping us from doing what we said we wanted to do. And the people with me still remember the light bulb physically going off over my head. And it was like, I'm stopping me. I am the only one stopping me because all the other, not enough time or money or whatever, all the other justifications I was giving, I truly had control over. I really did ultimately. And it was the difference is I found it empowering because as soon as I quit putting out on circumstances, people, the market, interest rates, I can give you all of the reasons why people think that they can't be successful in my business. And when I stopped looking at all of that and I looked at what I could do, then I felt empowered. And it was really a pivotal moment. And that's what I find the 3%ers all have, in whatever their way of saying and sharing, that's one of the key things that they have.
Well, Karen, you'll be happy to hear that My first book is coming out in May, so
There you
very excited.
go.
You're the first ones to hear this. I haven't shared this with anyone anywhere, so this is very exciting news. But I figured since you said that, you're right. I mean, just having the courage to actually putting out. It sounds weird to say you're an author at this point, right? But you probably went through this yourself. For me, I think the outlier question is really. I think people or companies operate at three different levels: tactical, strategic, and epic. And the reason why most people and most teams and most companies can't get out of like the tactical and strategic things, because that's when you're operating from a place of comfort and usually a lot of data. But the greatest companies of all, the greatest entrepreneurs of all, they go into the unknown. Now, the way I would define epic is that either you find something that's so broken, it's so crap, and you go, I can do this 10 times better, or you do something that has never been done before. And both are crazy hard. If it was easy, everybody would do it, but it requires the mindset shift of starting with, why not? What if, and having the courage to kind of dare to dream a little different. It doesn't mean that it's going to succeed. A lot of like epic endeavors obviously fail. That's why a lot of startups fail. But the ones who make it, they change the game. They change the game for all of us. They set the bar a lot higher because they dare to dream. And I think that the key that I'm trying to remind myself of, and also my team, is like having the courage to do that, and being okay with failure or discomfort. Because when you're operating at that epic level, there's no roadmap to guide you. Right? There's no data, because if it had been done before, everybody else could see that and kind of probably copy it. You're into the unknown, which feels very uncomfortable. Even for me, when I look back on my career, I've done maybe one or two epic things, but a lot of stuff has also failed, right? And that's kind of part of the game. But I think having the courage to try, I think, is what sets those outliers apart.
Yeah, when you say that, like I get the sense of like you've pursued epicness a lot, and like some of the things that you pursued actually ended up coming out and bearing fruit. Does that feel fair, Robert? Let me check it on that.
That is, I mean, like I've taken 2 companies public. Great. WeWork was an ultimate disaster. I mean, so it's like you try different things, right? But you put yourself out there. You try to go for something that's really kind of big. And that also means that there's a high likelihood of failure. It ends up happening, I think, if you're pushing the boundaries of what you're trying to achieve. It's bound to happen.
This is something that, like, again, as y'all go on, y'all keep hitting on things. I'm like, oh, I needed to hear this. I didn't know I needed to hear this, but I need to hear it. So, like, let's play in the game. Continue to play from this place of epicness here. That's your word, Robin. So let me but the idea here for me is. I'm curious here. Y'all have continued to create success, and you keep finding different levels of success along the way. I'm curious though, like for any outlier that's listening to this and be like, "Oh, that's nice for Karen and Robin and Bronson. They've already done all these things here. I'm on my way, and like." Or they're looking at their peers along the way, and they're like, "All right, but like, what's next, right?" So I'm really curious for y'all. Like, would you mind sharing a product that you have that that really brings you to life, or if you're really really down to play, what problem you have that's like that you're something you're taking on that actually feels like, let's use Robin's like kind of frame, like epic to you, right? It's something that gives you sweaty palms, something that like. In my mind, the word like intimidating comes on. Like y'all done a lot of things. Like what's intimidating you right now in terms of the projects that you're taking on, or the changes that you're working toward. Y'all want to share anything on that? Yeah, Bronson, I see you. I see you.
I'm always chomping now. Like, but I love Robin sharing, because the idea of failure. I think I've really redefined failure as being information. That it's not. I used to think if I failed, then I'm a failure, or I'm not good at this thing. But failure is just simply information. It's just simply like, oh, that didn't work, so let's try something else. And the people that look at the Thomas Edison's, somebody said, oh, you failed, at creating electricity, or you say, no, I found 3,000 ways successfully of not creating electricity. And you have to reframe it. And Michael Jordan has this quote of like, I've missed the game-winning shot, shot 55 times, and I've missed 50,000 shots in my career, and I'm going to keep shooting, and that's why I'm successful. And it's kind of that, like, in the face of failure. I really think there's a direct correlation in life. The more I'm willing to take shots on things that are uncertain, the more successful I'm going to be. Because some of those things, most of them are not going to work. Probably 90% of them are really not going to work. Honestly, a lot of us here, I know Robin and Aaron, all of us have said, like, we've tried a lot of things. A lot of things didn't work. But because we keep iterating, we keep making it better. And so I don't know if there's necessarily a tool there, but I think it's a mindset shift that if everything's got to be perfect for you, and this is why A students work for C students, right? Because A students have to get everything right. right? If you make mistakes, you'll get fired, right? It's an A student, but it was C students, and I was probably a B student. But like you got to be willing to try new things. So anyway, I don't know if it's really a tool, except for just like not letting failure define me and just continuing to try new things.
Well, so along the same lines of trying new things, Wayne Dyer said, change the way you look at things, and the way you look at things changes. So in the real estate industry or segment, it's become very media driven. And by media, I mean social media. And so we hire a professional company. The professional company produces at a high level a lot of our videos for listings and content creation. And then it didn't feel like it was enough. It wasn't moving the bar. And so then I brought on my team working closely with me, millennial, because I'm like, certainly a millennial, get up our social media game. And she did, and she taught me a lot of things, and we're continuing to produce. And I was like, it's still not moving the bar. I was waiting for everyone else to do this, right? And then I finally said, okay, this is mine to do. And I'm going to change the way I look at this, and I'm going to figure it out. And I'm going to show people that 67-year-olds can learn social media and make an impact. And so I am leading the way, and I have to say, I get even more media because of my age, that people are like, oh, I follow you, all the things you're doing. It's so exciting. And so whenever I get into a situation where I'm like looking for everybody else to do something about it, I just turn that finger back and go, well, if it was easy, anyone could do it. And I'm not anyone. I do it. And so it is, again, back to being empowered. Like I was waiting for other people to do something. And when I empowered myself, I'm really into it. It's really amazing connections that I make using social media.
I love this. A practical tool that I use is the discomfort test. I usually tell my teams, like, when you come present an idea, unless it makes me feel a little uncomfortable, unless I have that voice inside my head that goes, can we do this? Should we do this? Is this stupid? Well, what will people think? Then it's probably not bold enough. If I just go, oh, okay, let's go with it. Then it's probably like, it's good, but is it really great? So leaning into that discomfort and having that voice in your head, I think is a really good thing. And so I always encourage my teams to kind of like when you come present things, be a little bit bold, be a little bit crazy on what you want to do. It doesn't mean that every idea has to be that way, but just kind of in general, when we're trying to like swing for the fences. I'll give you a practical example you were asking for. So I joined this company as a chief marketing officer called Matterport in 2020. It was in March. The pandemic had just hit, and everybody was stuck at their homes. And we were doing like 3D tours, like probably familiar with that, Karen, in your industry, right? Of homes, both commercial and residential real estate. And we thought, how can we get more people on our platform now that everyone's stuck in their homes and they're kind of bored? We were supposed to release a mobile version of this app at the end of the year, maybe even in 2021. We thought, screw it. This is the time to capitalize on everybody being bored and sitting at home and being stuck. Let's fast track the release, get it out there. And so we, from March till May, we released this. We released it on May the 4th. I always remember that date because it's Star Wars Day. May the 4th be with you. I'm a little bit of a nerd, as I said. So we released it on May the 4th, this kind of early preview version. But in the first week alone, we had more signups to our app than we did in the first 10 years of being in business. And to be clear, this is not just me. It was me rallying the whole company and the team to do this. And we went and shot some cool ads, which we had to do remotely because everybody was at home with masks on. We had to organize the landing pages, the downloads, the infrastructure. There was the whole company effort. But we did something bold, and it really paid off. It accelerated the growth of the company, which we ended up going public in 2021 because of that momentum, because we swung for the fences. So, but it was about asking the question, why not now? This is our moment. Let's go capitalize on it. And again, that's just an example of something that succeeded. There's also been others that have failed, but just like going for it is kind of what I'm always encouraging. Like, what's the worst that could happen?
You say this here. As soon as you brought up the one, there's let me really reflect real quick here, because I'm taking all of you in at the same time, and I wanted to say thank you for the energy you're bringing, and also as you're talking, I can feel this like almost like this invisible fence that I had put up on my own. Like almost, Karen, to your point about the light bulb moment, it was like, oh, like that feels like what bold is, and like, oh, like I can like. Where am I saying that this is outside of like my purview, or like it's not for me to know, or this is not how it's done, or whatever it is like that? And as y'all are talking, it's really starting to expand there. And Outliers, I'm going to invite you. Like this is not a passive conversation. Like we are having this conversation here to help bring something new out of you. So let us know in the chat. And if you're just keeping it for yourself, that's fine too. But like honor the conversation by finding something to change, finding something to go be bold on, or to step in your out of your comfort, or to get into your morning routine. Like see it, visualize it, whatever it is that's there. Like honor this conversation that's taking place. Karen, I'm coming to you because you struck me when he brought up the discomfort zone. Yeah, I saw like some deep nods on that. Like I'm like, oh, Karen knows. Do you mind? Do you mind sharing anything on that? Like what was coming to you on that, and then we'll see where we go.
Well, the social media is the best example because lots of opportunity to grow. And the thing is, though, a lot of times you back to outcome. You don't know what the outcome is going to be, but the places it's taken me has been so exciting. And not all the places I knew what they were. And I would say that, Robin, that's along the lines of what you're going. You're swinging for the fences. You're putting yourself and your team out there into space. Frontiers never realized before, and then you get the benefit of it. Like the beauty of this, if you power through outside of your comfort zone, you're going to travel, to places, you're going to meet people, you're going to go to places, business, either professionally or personally, or even just, in your own life experience, that if you stay in your own little circle, that's how stagnation happens, right? That's why water that's stagnant, it doesn't move.
But just what you've displayed, though, Karen, is like, it's just so much courage, because it means there's so many things that could go wrong. I'm sure you probably had that voice in your head, like,
oh yeah,
probably external signals too. People going, "Why are you doing this?" Like in an industry that maybe has been around, but you did it, and look at how you're benefiting because you had the courage. I just love that example. Like, I mean, you're very open about it, like, and now you're reaping it, and in ways that you didn't even anticipate. I love that.
And I want to thank you for Matterport, because imagine selling homes when you can't let people live in your home, right? I mean, like that was such a brain expander. We came up with ideas and learned things, and it's brilliant because the thing is so much of the industry has catapulted, as you said, into because of that. And so even though at the time it appeared to be, and the pandemic certainly impacted people, in many ways, and we lost people. I'm not saying that I want things to happen for that reason, so other reasons could happen, but there is things that came out of it. We can choose the reasons that were good that came out of it. And you, Bronson, with the fires, right? Like, I mean, look at that. Look at what you're contributing to your community.
Thank you. Yeah, I am part of Matterport as well. We use that as well. So that, but it's that, I think there's that Chinese word that like has, crisis has the word opportunity in it as well. So it's kind of like two sides, right? Crisis creates opportunity. And so obviously you guys are, wildly successful. And I think that, successful people will lean into discomfort. They'll lean into challenges and see the opportunity. And so that's a great quality. So I see that in both you guys, and Robin and Karen. So well done with that. So appreciate you for that.
Well, I appreciate all of y'all. Like this has been an incredibly invigorating conversation. We're going to start wrapping it up. I have a couple questions that I asked in the wrap up here, and so what I'd like to do is we'll start with an outsight, and we'll start with an outsight and how people can go deeper down the journey for you. So, what's an outsight? An outsight is a takeaway you have that you want others listening to take away, right? So, what's up? Like, if there's something you can tell the outliers, what would it be? Based on this conversation. And then if you could, after you shared that outside, would you please let us know how we can go deeper down the journey with you in whichever way makes the most sense. So Bronson, we'll start with you, then we'll go to Robin, then we'll go to Karen.
Okay. Yeah. I think, the outside, what really separates people is I think the people you're in the room with. So, I pay a lot of money to be in amazing rooms. Obviously in conversations like this, it's great. It's just such a good reminder success does leave clues, and you're the average of the 5 people that you spend the most time. So this is really something for me that I've, up leveled my life by just getting in rooms with amazing people and really trying to learn and grow. So, and I guess one way to do that, if you wanted to connect, we do have this in-person event we do in the next one is June 25th, 26th in Newport Beach, California. We have a handful of, 30, 40 high net worth investors. We get together, no pitches, just simply sharing information and kind of really networking and trying to figure out how we can help each other. So if you want to reach out, they can go. I have a free gift. Actually, you can text the word cash flow, just all one word. If you text the word cash flow to the number 33777, I have my 3 favorite investments of 2026. I'm happy to share that for free. It's text the word cash flow, all one word to the number 33777. But thanks so much for having me, Naima, and thanks to my other panelists as well.
Oh, that's awesome, Bronson. Thank you much. I got one more question for you before we wrap, so we'll come to that in a bit. Robin, great.
Sure. So as I mentioned earlier, I'm kind of become obsessed with how do I pay it forward and bring as much purpose and joy and meaning to people around the world. And my limiting factors has always been time or availability. So I cloned myself. So basically I took all my articles, all my LinkedIn posts, and I write a lot on LinkedIn, all my podcast videos, and I create a digital clone of myself. So my team, for example, can go and get feedback on marketing ideas. You can get career advice. It's 99% in my voice. So it pretty much mimics exactly who I am and what I stand for, which is perfect. You can find it at robindaniels.co if you want to go talk to my digital version. Of course, I can also make myself available in real life, but you'll find a lot of good answers to any kind of query about career, life, meaning, goals. Anything I put out there is captured in this brain. So that's how you can find me.
Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome. That's like I'm like, oh, is it time? to put it out there. Thanks, Robin. And Karen?
If I want to leave your community with this empowering thought, if I can do it, you can too, because I was basically the stay-at-home parent for our children and didn't begin working full-time until my son left for college, and I've achieved a high level of success. And I do offer life coaching for people who, if this resonates with you, to reach out to me. My concept is called 5-minute success, because I found people had the limiting belief of time that they didn't have enough of it. I'm like, well, can you invest 5 minutes a day in your personal and business development? And he's like, yeah. So my book is basically a daily reader that helps people learn one concept a day and apply it, and then experience the benefits of it. So you could Google Karen Briscoe, and I pretty much take up the whole first page. But if you need more, the website, and I'm sure you're going to put this all in the information, but it's very easy because it's the number 5-minute success. And you can find me and my books on Amazon and Audible and all the places.
Well, thank you for that there, Karen. Thank you to all of you for showing up and bringing all of you to this conversation. It's been really invigorating, as I said before. We end up every conversation here with one last question. And the thing for me is the reason to get people together, the reason to even be in conversation is for us to be able to up level, to have a life-changing conversation. So I'd like to ask each of you here, now that we've taken care of outliers with an outside, what's one insight that you are leaving this conversation with? What's something that for you, how has this been helpful? And if it hasn't been, or if there is nothing that's coming to you, just don't make it up. Y'all are good. You're like, this was just fun, But if there is something play it out. Well, why don't we go with Robin? Then we'll go to Karen. Then we'll wrap with Bronson. You bring us home.
I'm just super inspired by your transformation, Karen. Just like how you transformed your life. Like you said, being a stay-at-home mother. Now you're out there on social media. You've written a best-selling book. I'm like, it's never too late. I'm like, people who complain, oh, it's too late. You're like, come on, give me a break. It's never too late to be bold and do something different with your life. So kudos to that. Kind of remind myself that, because sometimes I'm getting older and I'm like, time is passing. It's like that urgency in you, but you've proven me wrong. Thank you.
Well, I will just say I just got started, so I have a lot to live. So I really am grateful for the energy that you've brought together here and everybody's contributions, because I find that back to that big magic, I'm feeling a lot of big magic here, and I'm hoping that your community as well, your Outlier community, has been able to feel it as well, and that the way people, connect with people.
Thank you,
Yeah.
Karen.
I think I'm really just inspired by you, Karen and Robin, and just kind of things you've created for yourself. There's a quote that says, "It's never too late to be who you could have been," right? Or kind of the idea that it's not too late. And so a lot of us think, oh, if I could just go back and do it, it's like, no, we have today, right? We don't have, the best time to plant a tree was 20 years ago. The second best time is today. And so it's just like, you get around people that are doing stuff. I'm inspired, like Robin's writing his book. I'm like, I got my second book I'm working on, and Karen's on multiple books. She's a multiple selling author, Naeem, I don't know when your book's coming out, but just like when you get around people, it's like, you just things start becoming possible. And it's like, oh, maybe I can do it, maybe an hour a day or an hour a week or whatever, just kind of start investing in those things that I really see the potential to really help me grow. So thank you guys. You guys really inspired me today.
Oh, well, I appreciate each and every one of you. Y'all, I have a book. It's written. I haven't put it out there. I will be bold. I'm like, I know. I was like, oh no, I gotta be truthful here. Right.
Yes.
So I'm like, oh, I can no longer not have it. It's like, it doesn't work. I appreciate all of you here. Outliers, we're going to wrap this conversation here, but let it continue to go. Share this conversation with someone in your life who would really benefit from having this here. And if you want to have a conversation like the ones that we're having, you can join us at school.com/outlier, where you can go hang out with other amazing outliers who are continuously moving up in their lives. Until the next time we talk, be you on purpose.